So the real reason we wanted our husbands to be here and why we want your husbands to be here is because I wouldn't see the success I've seen in my business, and I'm sure Haley would say the same, if Ethan didn't support what I was doing. I have taken a lot of time. Like I spend a lot of time on my phone. There were many nights that I stayed up late. I've made a lot of sacrifices even in our marriage because I knew what I was working towards, and he had to believe in it too, and he never questioned me. He always encouraged me to work so that we could be where we are now, so I could walk away from teaching, so I could be pregnant and not be at school, and so I could have the option to raise our babies from home or whatever it is that I want to do in the future, pay off my debt, all of those things. I needed his support because it does take a lot of time. So I want to share with you our story, um, and then kind of let Ethan give his perception. And then if you have questions for us, let us know. But it was around this time that I first learned about coaching. And obviously, Ethan was like the first person. Okay, I think I got it. So Ethan was obviously the first person. I was like, here's this coaching thing. What do you think about it? And I could tell immediately that he was not sold, which of course he didn't know anything about it. Like I was like, I follow this girl. It looks so cool. I talked to her on the phone, all of those things. And he was like, okay, I don't know about all of that. So in March of 2017, I ended up saying no, not because of him whatsoever. It just led to me saying no because I had some fears myself. He was a little bit skeptical, but I kept thinking and kept thinking and kept thinking about it. So June came around and I was like, okay, Ethan, I really, really want to do this. Like, I told him my excitement about it. I had been following this girl for a long while. Did you follow her before I signed up? Okay, Ethan didn't follow her, but I'm sure I made him follow her pretty quickly after I signed up. And he still didn't understand what it was. And he still was like, this could be a pyramid scheme and you could lose our money, but go for it. But you have until Christmas, is basically what he told me. Is I had 6 months to make money. And if I could prove to him that I could make money in those 6 months, then it was fine. So I knew from day one that I needed to bust my butt. So from my end of things, I thought I'm proving to him something. And I made sure in my first 2 months, I was sharing with him what was going on in my business. If I was on my phone, I was explaining to him that I was talking to a girl and I was so excited. And I can remember every single time he's like, have you signed somebody up? Have you signed somebody up? I can clearly remember golfing together one day. He probably doesn't even remember it. It was before my first sale, before I ever helped anybody. And I was like, this girl is so close. I'm so excited. We were out golfing. I was all over my phone. And he just kept asking me day after day if people were signing up. I'm like, no, not yet, but this girl's really close. I have 5 people that are really close. So it wasn't until July I saw my first paycheck. I was like 3 or 4 weeks in, and I think my first paycheck was $250. And Ethan was the very first person I showed my paycheck to, and I felt like that was the switch. I felt like the moment he saw, okay, she can make $250 in a week, he was like, go for it. Like that felt like my green light of like, okay, if you can make $250 in a week, you're capable of anything. And from then on, I felt like I had his complete support. Not that he didn't support me before. It wasn't like that at all. I just knew that I had something to prove. So, Ethan, from your end, what did you think whenever I first brought it to you?
Um, I mean, pretty much just reiterating what she said. I was very skeptical whenever she first brought it up because I had no idea what the company was or whether what she was doing was actually a pyramid scheme and just a way to scam people into making money. Um, and so we came to an agreement together that, like, listen, we'll kind of dive into this, and if you, um, you know, put forth the effort and it pays off, then we're going to go full force into it. So it definitely took time. But whenever I first heard of it, I was just kind of, yeah, I'll let you, but I don't know about it yet. Not I'll let you, but you know what I'm saying? Like, just, okay, if you are passionate about this, I'm going to let you chase your passion and we'll see what what it turns out to be.
I can also remember one morning, it was when school started because I started in the summer. It was August, like my first teacher meeting. I can remember getting up before school to work out, and Ethan was still in bed. And when he got up, he said something to me about like, "Oh my, you are pretty committed to this if you're getting up before school to work out," because I'm not a morning person. So when I say that I went all in, it was with all of it. It started with the programs, because that's what it is as a coach. We start with the programs, and he saw I was working out consistently, and he knew my journey before that. I was a runner. I was an inconsistent runner. So I think it was important for him to see me going all in with workouts. It was important for me to share my victories in my own health journey, and then my victories with the business as well. When do you feel like you knew it was like, okay, she can do something big with this?
Well, the first paycheck that she got was big, and I don't even think you were expecting anything like that so soon. But whenever she got the first paycheck, that was obviously, I mean, not that monetary things are the only motivator, but once we saw what she was capable of, it was like, okay, what can you do? What can we do to actually dive into this? And that was whenever I started to see Paige basically shift gears and go from something that like could be something that we could get a little extra fun money into, like, okay, this could honestly be life changing. And so she took off with it, and whatever she needed from me, I wanted to be that supportive husband. And I was never pushy. I never was like, like, hey, we got to get sales. Let's go, girl. But she turned something that she was interested in to a full-fledged passion. And as a husband, it's easy to see what your significant other is passionate about. And if you want to fuel their fire, tell them that you see their passion and you see that change in them. And Paige just took off like a rocket. So I've just been right behind her the whole way.
And he is still the first person I share like any sort of business things with. I get up Thursday mornings and I look at my paychecks, and Ethan is the first person I tell. If he's not home, I text him or call him. And if he's home, we're sitting there doing it together. So I think it's really important to keep your significant other informed about what you're doing. And if you're not married, and you happen to get into a relationship anytime soon, sharing that with them. And if you're not married and you have a mom or a dad or a brother or a sister or a best friend who you would like their support, the best thing is communication with them and showing them what's possible and sharing your excitement with them. So if you think of questions, you can drop them in the chat, but I'm going to pass it to Haley and her husband.
All right. Okay. So, I think my starting off was like different than Paige's. I followed my coach Katie on Instagram for a few weeks, and I saw her transformation photos, and I basically just started this for my health journey. I had no intentions of like business building or coaching, because I was like, how the heck can I coach someone and be a health mentor when I am crying in the mirror every morning? Like, I'm looking for a physical, like, to get comfortable in my skin. So I was almost really skeptical of the word coach going into it, to be called a coach, because I didn't feel like it was right for me to be a coach if I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. But I wanted to become a coach because I needed that accountability to show up every day. So that's kind of like how I started coaching. And I can remember the day, like it was literally yesterday. I was sitting on the couch and I messaged Katie, and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to do it. And Tyson was in the garage sweeping, and I completed my order, and I went out to the garage and I was like, so I think I did something. He's like, oh yeah, what's that? And I'm like, I'm going to join Beachbody. And he's like, what's that entail? And I was like, well, I'm not really sure, but all I know is that if I go all in, I think it can be a pretty big deal. He's like, oh, cool. And I walked away, and that was kind of how I told him I was doing it. And so I like went in on my first program, and I guess I we've never really talked about it. I don't know what he thought of the beginning of my, like me doing a program, but that 21 days, I literally like fell in love with Beachbody because of the programs. I like was feeling so much better about myself. And then that's when I started to share it with others because I was just becoming happier as a person. And that's kind of like how my coaching started. It was never like really for the money or anything. I knew it was like what was possible, but I didn't think it would ever be me. And so I just stayed with it for the like fitness part of it. And then a few months in, I was like helping people. Like I was getting bomb results, and I had people like wanting to join me, and I like had them joining me, and I was getting paid for it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And I can remember I had to share on social media, and you guys, we live in a town of 300 people. So literally everyone knew everything I was doing. And it was scary because I'm like, if I go uptown to the grocery store, someone's going to know what I just said on social media. And I don't know how I feel about that. Or, you know, I didn't want him to have to go to the bar and have his buddies be like, oh, I see your wife's doing jumping jacks on social media. Like, I not only thought of what people would make fun of me for, but I didn't want him to have to take that crap too. So I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. And so I guess I started, and I can remember I just had to show him like the small paychecks to just kind of like prove to him that what I was doing was actually like earning me money. So I can remember I'd send him like, you know, a $50 paycheck, and I'm like, oh, I made $50 this week. And he's like, oh, you know, good job. That's cool. And then I would show him, I constantly was showing him my upline, like being at a trip. And I'm like, this is what I can earn someday. And, you know, like I would show him, this is Katie's income progression. Like I could earn this someday. And I actually still do that. I'm like, this is my income, and I hope in 5 years I'm in 6 digits. And he's like, yeah, you know, hopefully. And so I just am always showing him what's possible through my upline and stuff like that. And that's what I have done along the way. But I can remember the first time I earned our trip for our that's what we called our honeymoon. And I think taking him on that trip was what really opened his eyes of like the community, who I do this with, what I do. And that's another thing is I still, even to this day, don't think, I mean, our spouses know exactly what we do 100% because he's at his job while I'm at home coaching. But as I've gotten more into this, I like to kind of show him a little more of what I do. For instance, like he's never even seen a team call. This is his first time being on a team call, but he knows that I, you know, make sacrifices. And yes, there are nights where I'm sure he would rather have me on the couch watching a movie with him, but I'm in my office on another team call. And I've made it very clear to him that like, I have to do this and be on team calls, but it's so worth it when we're on a cruise ship celebrating together, because we wouldn't be able to, at the beginning of this, you guys, I wouldn't have been able to afford to go on a cruise ship cruise. But me making sacrifices for us at night has led me to take him on 3 Beachbody trips now. And, you know, just being able to financially do more for us as a family. And I'm still like, it doesn't change, you know, even 2.5 years into this, I'm still making sacrifices because I think of my future family, and I want to be able to, you know, provide for hopefully our kids someday and not have to leave. And I'm always thinking of our family when I'm making sacrifices, and I'm very open to him about that. And I just wrote down, like, because I thought of it with Paige, this isn't just for your significant other. I also had to be very open with my family, and my family still will make a little bit, they don't realize they do it, but they'll kind of, you know, make remarks that kind of are not making fun, but poking, you know, joking around about the coaching opportunity, or, oh, can you eat this and stuff like that. And I just have to be very open with them. And I even started to send my parents my paycheck for coaching because I wanted them to realize that I am going to do this full time. And when I told them that, they're like, whatever. And I just showed my dad my tax return income, and you guys about fainted. He was like, holy crap. And my dad went from that person who didn't believe in this at all to now he is literally the first to like brag to other people about being a Beachbody coach. And it fuels my soul like you would not believe, to have my dad, or even like Tyson, you know, if someone asks anything about Beachbody, Tyson is the first to be supportive of it. And it really, really has made me want to keep sharing the things with him. But yeah, I guess I'll let Tyson kind of.
I ain't much of a talker, but
Yeah, I'm actually shocked he's sitting here, you guys.
everybody's, you know, we're talking about this money, you know, the money that you can make on this whole deal, but also, you know, Haley's made a lot of friends, I guess, on this whole deal. And, you know, we went on some cruise ships or whatever. When you leave them, you know, she's crying, you know, people that you meet and stuff like that. I guess it's not just a money deal. It's a friendship. I don't know how to explain it, I guess, but you know,
even like when we went to Arizona for leadership, he had never met any of the husbands before, and they literally left for a day, not even met, like they literally shook hands for the first time and then got on a bus and went to a golf course together. And the wives weren't with them, and they had no idea who they were, and they went and golfed 18 holes together all day. And he came back and like, he had the time of his life. Like he's meeting friends too, you know. And Paige and I were just talking like, hey, you know, why haven't we had a Zoom call with our husbands? Because let's get to know each other more. And yeah, that's a good point. But I guess like, I don't know. Do you have anything else to?
not really. Ethan kind of got her all nailed it. But
I do have to say, I really, really agree with the Success Club trip thing. The moment you can get your husband on a Success Club trip, I feel like Ethan didn't, like he knew, and also last year was my first one, and I had already resigned from my teaching job last year, but I still feel like he didn't know what this was all about until we went on the cruise together. He finally felt the community for the first time, and just the excitement and positivity of Beachbody as a whole. And I feel like after that trip, he really understood what I feel about this company.
The biggest thing was the culture and the community. Like she said, the positivity that comes with it. When you go on one of those trips, everybody is so stoked to be there, and rightfully so. I mean, those trips are awesome. That's another exciting thing when you work for a company who rewards their employees with things like that. Like, how exciting, you know? And for a lot of people, that's a big push. And so on our first trip that we went on, I was just floored that like my wife inspires people, works her tail off, and now we're on this cruise ship. Like, I mean, you can't ask for anything better from a business. That's
and
awesome.
not only that, we got $1,000 of spending money on that cruise ship. So everything we did, because of all the sacrifices he watched me make in the year before that, paid for everything we did, excursions. And then even after all of that, I had $200 left over. So I just went and bought a purse that I didn't even want or need. I was like, we have to spend this before we go. So it's just insane. So work your butt off. Keep your husband in the loop about what you're doing. That way he knows, and call it a business. Seriously, Ethan calls it a business because I call it a business. I am making business money. So we call it a business. I run it, I own it, and I work my tail off. And when I started using those words, because I didn't at first, he started using that. And our whole family calls my business because I've been open with them. And I love what Haley said about sharing with her parents too, because I do think that's really super important. Everybody you love needs to know how important this is to you and that it is your business. That way they take it as seriously as you do, and they understand the sacrifices that you're making.
I want to add one more thing too for those spouses who are on here, or if you people want to like show your spouses if they're not able to be here. One of the biggest ways you can support your significant other in this business is it's literally the littlest things, like taking pictures for our social media or showing, behind the scenes of us driving around town. That is big for us to build our business, is being like posting pictures and taking pictures together. And I know it's really hard. That's something that I've had to get more comfortable with, and he's gotten a lot better too. But I even said like taking pictures together, he usually like rolls his eyes like, oh my God, we got to take another picture. But now I think he's realizing that that's part of my business, and that what I post is, you know, growing my business. And so, or sometimes I'll be like, hey, take my picture. And I know there's some like crazy coach husbands out there who are like photographers, and I'm like, holy cow. But I mean, even just taking pictures when we need a picture taken for our social media platform is a way to be supportive, and not laughing because we asked to take a picture, because that makes us really uncomfortable and not want to do that. So like little things like that even. But wives or significant others, you also have to be open about that too. They don't know that. And if they don't know what we're doing with those pictures, they don't know that like part of our paycheck can determine if we make that post. And also like being vulnerable is hard too. But speak emotion in your posts and share emotion behind your posts. And some of that involves, you know, things that are going on in our life, whether it be my health, woman issues, or growing a family, or talking about like my mom's alcoholism, or you know, our house situation. Those are things that he is also behind and has to do with, and you know, can relate to him. So I have to know that he has to be supportive of that as well. So, you know, I guess just being very, very, very open in communication about what is going on with your coaching business, what you're doing, how he can support it, because they don't know. And I'm really guilty of that, just thinking that he knows everything that's going on in the business and why, you know, that we have to take a picture. But you just have to be very open about that. And yeah.
Agreed. Any husbands have questions before we let our husbands go?
Watch The Last Dance on ESPN.
That. Is that the Michael Jordan thing? I thought that was already on. Oh.
I've got it recorded anyway.
All right. Well, husbands, I think this is your. Wait, actually, we need a picture. So, just Haley, that was a great thing to finish up on. If you're able to show your face, we're gonna take a picture with our husbands. Love it. Okay, I got it. All right, husbands, you're good to go. Thank you for being here.
See you guys.
Okay, the second part is really just some motivation to keep going, you guys. This is our last team call together for this Diamond Push. I'm sure there will be future ones where our teams come together again, but this is the last one for April. So we really wanted to talk about not stopping at Diamond. Even if you didn't pop to Diamond this month, we know there are so many of you sitting here on this call who are really close. And we want you to always keep in mind that your business actually is just starting at Diamond, and that is not the time to stop. That is not the time to lose motivation. That is not the time to like let your momentum die down. It's the exact opposite of that, because when you hit Diamond, that's when I see people as leaders. Like, you are a leader of a team, and it is your responsibility to keep growing that team and keep growing your momentum. And beyond that, you want to hold on to your Diamond, and that comes with momentum. So that's really what I want you to keep in mind, is Diamond is not the goal. It is not the end all be all. That's not when you're going to see a ginormous jump in your income. It is just a part of it. I learned at Summit last summer that 2-star, and there could be a whole different call about this, but 2-star is really where it's at. The promised land is what they call it. And to ever get to 1-star or 2-star or 5-star, like Haley was saying, you cannot stop. Like, you have to keep the momentum going, and your vision and your mission for your business has to drive that. So I think Haley has a few things to say, and then we have Shelby, who is one of the best I've ever seen at this. She blows me out of the water as far as leadership goes at this phase in her business, and I want her to I want you to hear from her. So Haley, take it away, and then we'll throw it to Shelby.
Yeah, I just like off of that, you know, diamond is your goal, or like diamond is where we're pushing and stuff. But I think diamond is actually just the beginning, because that's when you officially have maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 coaches under you that you can start to mentor. And I would say diamond is where you start to feel like a leader. And then after that is where you start to be a leader of leaders. And that is where it gets fun, exciting. Not that it's not up until then, but you get what I'm saying. Like once you hit diamond, that's kind of like where you just push the freaking gas pedal, because you're going to see like, wow, I have like coaches next beside me now. And rather than trying to, you know, create your team under you, you have gotten there, and now you get to do team stuff with other coaches who are wanting to grow their own team. So, you know, I would just say shoot for diamond, and the minute you get there, put your leadership hat on. And I will be the first to admit, you guys, that if there's one quote that goes with being a leader, it's fail forward. Because I can remember, and I still do this, I feel like I am a horrible leader every single day. I'm constantly thinking, oh my gosh, I'm sure other coaches who are at my rank have so many more groups going, I bet they have a great email they're sending out. I bet they have 450 coaches on their team. I like pick myself apart bad, you guys. But I'm here to tell you that when you become a leader and you're a diamond, you have coaches under you, just really embrace your coaches, have fun, share everything with them, and make it your own. Make your team your own. And, you know, that's the moment that you really get to start to just, you know, make your team you and have fun with it. And, you know, we're here to help you in all sorts of ways, but I just wanted to point that out, that yes, diamond is, I feel like, the point where you kind of switch roles in a way. You know, you go from growing your team to now like growing your team with people beside you.
So for those of you who don't know Shelby, I'll just give her a little intro. She started coaching not even a year ago. It was May of last year. And when she started, Shelby, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but she didn't have like ginormous goals with this thing. She just wanted to start. She loved the community, she loved the workouts, and she knew she could make some money. And she didn't start off like crazy hot. She was hitting Success Club, yes, but there has been a shift probably in the last 3 or 4 months. She's fallen in love with the community and realized that she wanted to do it full time, probably at the end of 2019. So really the shift I've seen in Shelby has happened at the beginning of 2020. It was like January, February especially, and I think it's because she realized she wanted to do this full time. So I will let her speak to why the shift happened, how it happened, and what she's done since then. But since then, she has popped to diamond. She did that in February in our diamond push group, by the way. These things are successful. Yeah, she did that in February. And since February, you guys, my mind has been blown about the way that her team has taken off. It's been like insane. And I credit that to her leadership 100%. So Shelby, tell us why the shift happened and basically your tips for how you can keep going once you hit diamond and develop your team and keep growing rather than like putting the brakes on at that point.
Yeah, so I would have to say, like, I actually, like Paige said, I actually decided, like, I kind of had this thought of, like, oh, it'd be cool to do this full time by the time I'm done with grad school, and I'll be finishing in December. And then, like, December hit, and I was like, whoa, okay, if I'm saying that I actually want to do this full time in a year, I need to, you know, actually act like it and do the things. And so that's, like, when I really started to just kind of like Haley mentioned, like put like step on the gas and really like try and take off. And so one thing like that I think has really helped is our coach mentorship and just how we're coaching our new coaches. And also like being able to relay to my new coaches what I actually do as a coach, because we all can like talk about the vital behaviors and talk about like what our three main jobs as a coach, as far as like taking care of ourselves and sharing it and all that kind of stuff. But like when I sit down to work, what does that actually look like? And I actually had one of my newer coaches like a week and a half or so ago ask me, like, she's like, okay, I need a list of what you do. Her and I are very different personalities, but I love it because it does push me to be a better coach. And so I made like a new like little tracker, which I can like share. But so like actually being able to like show my coaches like what I do has really helped a lot, because before I made that, I was telling them that and telling them like what I was doing, but having like that tracker has made it really simple. But then for me to like keep going and to hold it and to help my coaches like see success right off the bat, I would definitely have to say that I am in constant communication with my new coaches, like seriously every single day. Like they're sending me at least one or two conversations, but then we're just even talking about like, okay, I'm gonna pick on Lindsay because I saw her today. I was talking to her about just like her running her own accountability group here soon and like that kind of stuff, just constantly being in communication with them. But also then Paige and I both had the same corporate mentor, but Paige had her like talk to some of the diamonds like on Zoom a couple weeks ago, and well, it was longer than that. I don't know, whenever it was the other day. And she made a comment about like, once you hit diamond, that is not like, do not go into defensive mode. Like continue to be offensive about what you're doing. Continue to grow your team, because you never know who's going to be like, oh, I decided that I just want to kind of do this for fun and like have it kind of be a hobby, maybe hit Success Club, like whatever. But if you're continuing to grow your team, you're going to have somebody that not necessarily is going to like replace them, but somebody that you can rely on. And also having new people creates so much new and like positive energy. So if you are offensively working, then you're not going to have to come like Wednesday be like, oh crap, like who's inactive, like who is that? So that's probably like one of the best pieces of advice that I have gotten from anyone in Beachbody, like no matter where you're at. I'd just always be looking to grow and looking to have an offensive mindset when it comes to like growing your team and whatnot. So I think I answered all your questions, but let me know.
You did. And I have nothing to add to that. Haley, do you? Okay. Well.
Okay, one thing.
Oh yeah, go for it.
It just goes to show you the power of mindset. Literally, Shelby said she just had to have that mindset switch of, okay, if I want to do this, I got to do it. Like that's all that changed for her. She didn't get fairy dust. She didn't get like anything. She literally went from one mindset of, oh, maybe I could do this, to the next mindset of, I'm going to do this. So that literally, that moment, you guys, for you could be right now. Like if you're in that mindset of, oh, I'd really like to be full-time. Oh, like I really would love to do that. Tonight could be your night where you're like, no, I'm going to do that. Tomorrow is my new way of coaching.
That's so true. I love that. And just to top that off, something we did practically with Shelby, and you guys, you're always going to rely on like your full team for all the things. Just this last week, Shelby and I were talking, and I was like, okay, we got to make you some goals too. Like she's doing the things that she needs to do every single day, so her team is continuously growing. But we were talking like, December's not that far away. Like we've got to have some actual goals. What do you need to do every single month to get this to full time? So my upline sat down with the two of us and we talked like strategy of, okay, how does Shelby let's work backwards and see how Shelby can get to that full-time income by December. So this community, you guys, there's nothing like it. Like we're all here to help out each other, and you just make that decision and you run and you go for it. Because I'm telling you, sitting where I am today, a year ago, I had no idea that my team would be where it is right now. And just as some like, I don't know if income really, really motivates you like it does me, but in the month of April, insert income disclaimer, I will earn twice my teaching income from last year. Twice. It's insane, the opportunity with this business, you guys. If you just decide, like Haley was saying, you make the choice that you're going to do it. you can, but it's all up to you. Every bit of it is up to you. You have the resources, you have the knowledge, you have the people that you can ask the questions. Now it's time for you to decide that you want to do it, and for real, go for it. Does anybody have any final questions? Okay, well, Haley, do you have anything else? Alrighty, thank you girls for being here, and we will see you next time.